Hey everyone, welcome back to A Geek's Garage. So today we're going to be starting the work on my winter project, the 1984 Dodge Rampage. We're going to actually be starting with the brakes on this thing because I know the engine runs, it still needs a tune-up and oil change and a whole bunch of different stuff. The engine runs, I know that. What I also know is that when I've taken this thing for a drive a few times, the brakes do not work very well, if at all. So we're going to go through, we're going to completely redo all of the brakes. We're also going to drain all the brake fluid and bleed everything out and basically get ourselves back to a good point. I've also got my helper here. I'm not sure if you can see him or not. He's kind of walking all over the place. But that's my helper JD. He'll be here helping out. We'll see what kind of help he really is. So with that, let's get going. First up is to get the hood off of the car. It's got this real bad lean to it, and it's just going to be in the way when I'm doing engine work on it later on. And much like when I worked on the Stealth, the first thing I do is take the hood off and put it off to the side so I don't have to worry about bumping into it. It's definitely a two-person job, so my beautiful wife is along to help get the hood lifted off and put back onto the cap in the back to store it out of the way. Time to get the car up off of all fours and get the tires off so that we can get to these brakes. Okay, there we go. Car's up on four stands. I think, quite honestly, if I was to pull the engine out, I have a feeling it would flop backwards because of where the different lift points are on this thing. So I've got to be a little careful about that, but I don't think I'm going to be pulling the engine out. So I think we're going to be okay. First up is, I actually think going to be the brakes. Because they're going to be something fairly easy I can work on. Everything is just all rusted up. They don't spin very well, so I'll probably go through and grease up all the bearings as well. And then, who knows? Stay tuned to find out. Hello, and welcome to the undercarriage of my 1984 Dodge Rampage. So in trying to get the brake cylinders off, I broke the brake lines, the hard lines. So we're going to be pulling the hard line and replacing those. And that'll be interesting because I've never done that before. Well, I get to work on the brakes. I've sent the helpers up front to inspect the exhaust system and make sure that everything is okay up front. They're not 100% sure. They're pretty sure that the exhaust is going to need to be replaced. So we'll add that to the list of things that need to be done. Thanks, guys. So here's where we ended up. We got both lines off. I've plugged both of the brake lines with the pieces that snapped off when I was trying to remove the hard lines. I've got one of them set to slightly drip so that I can slowly gravity feed the brake fluid through it and hopefully clear it out a little bit more. In the meantime, we're going to leave it like this until the new hard lines come in so that I can start bending them and putting them back in. Okay, it's time for an unboxing. And so we're going to go through my couple boxes here from Rock Auto and see what I got for the brakes. First up, it's a full set of new springs for the rear drums. Followed up by a set of front brake pads. A pair of wheel cylinders for the rear. A few more random parts. This time I believe those are for the front. Apparently I ordered a set of spark plugs. Don't really remember doing that, but sure, why not? And finally, a set of rotors for the front. So let's see what's in this other box. It's a pair of drums for the rear. They don't look exactly like the drums that I pulled off, but we'll get to that later. Up next, some new shoes for the drums. A set of spark plug wires, because sure. And that'll be it. So now we got a whole bunch of parts that we've got to put back onto this car. So let's do a little bit of cleanup here and then take a look at those brake drums again. So here's the new drum that I got, and you're going to see me sort of staring at these things like a monkey doing a math problem, because if you take a look, the brand new drum has no wheel studs and also no bearing. And the reason why I'm looking so closely at the old one is because I can't see where there's any gap for the hub and the bearings or for the wheel studs to come through. It looks like it is all one cast piece. So we're going to head to the internet, take a few pictures, and check and see in the forums what it is that I'm missing. And so after checking with the forums, the thing that I was missing is brute force. The wheel hub and the drum are force pressed together, so in order to separate these, we're going to need to use brute force. On the forums, they talked about using a hammer. However, I decided I would use my shop press to separate them and go around and put a little bit of pressure on each of the different lugs, one at a time, slowly going around and pressing them out so that I don't do any damage to the rear hub. If we take a closer look, you'll actually be able to see much more easily the amount of deflection that occurs as we press down on these studs. I'm also applying a little bit of WD-40 as I go around, just to sort of help break up some of the rust and hopefully make this go a little bit easier. Just a little bit more.
Yahtzee! The hub is now separated from the drum, so I just need to go and do the other one. Well, that's going to do it for this time around. Be sure to leave comments down below, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel and clicking the bell so you're notified when I post new content. Thanks for watching. See ya!